Windows operating system. Now, whenever we talk about hardening or auditing a system, so generally we know that an information security program, whatever we do as part of the organization, is to ensure that what are the contents or the sensitive information has to be same. That means whatever the organizational information, we have to protect it, and the ability of the organization to function has to be taken care. And at the same time, we also need to take the applications and the functionality of them with a safer operation side. And our utmost importance will be on protecting the data, because there may be sensitive information or classified information which should not be leaked and which should not disrupt the functionality of the organization. And also we should safeguard the technology assets. So assets, again, it may be information, the hardware and the software which we use with respect to the system. So everything will be part of assets. So to ensure that all these are maintained, then we need to secure the information that is there in the organization. So for this, we have different kind of methodologies where we use hardening the things, where we have auditing whether that whatever the things we are doing are into right place, and we have vulnerability assessments, we have penetration testing. So there are a lot of methodologies with respect to protecting the system. Now, whenever we talk about the auditing part, we have a lot of tools on the market, like we have Nessus Professional, we have Nexpose, we have OpenVAS, we have BellArc Advisor, and we have Microsoft Baseline Security Advisor. So the first one, we know this is one of the most widely used vulnerability scanner. Along with this, we also have the hardening as well as the auditing part also. So whenever we do any kind of vulnerability analysis with this particular tool, it's from Rapid7. Sorry, it is from Tenable. So whenever we do this vulnerability scanner, so along with the vulnerabilities that are associated, it also check for the compliances. That means if we have any kind of policy or the standard that we want to check against tool, then we can also check with respect to the compliances also. And the most important part, it can also be able to detect the kind of missing security updates and patches. Now, let's say there is an operating system with me, Windows 10 or a Linux operating system. So in this case, whenever I use this tool, because generally what we do with respect to tool is that, so we already know there are a lot of manual methods or the kind of documentation available in order to secure or in order to harden the operating systems. But any tool will actually automate the process and will give us a kind of improvisation over the manual analysis, so that the time can be saved. But it is not that we cannot completely rely on the tool output also. So again, there should be some sort of verification or some kind of revalidation also need to be taken care, even though we use any specific kind of tools, because sometimes there may be a lot of false positives also with respect to the tools. So that has to be taken care with the help of manual intervention. So any automated tool or with respect to any kind of tool we use, that will actually helps in doing all the kind of jobs in automatically. So again, we also have the main advantage is highly accurate scanning with low false positives. But as mentioned, so we need to again re-verify whatever the tool output we generally get. So that has to be re-verified with respect to that. And also we have some advanced scanning in the sense we can also include some sort of scripts or any kind of plugins that the customized plugins can also be used with respect to a specific operating system or a website or any kind of applications. So as of December 2020, we have around 1,49,792 plugins are already available with this particular tool. So this is how the screenshot of the tool will be look like. So we can see there are a lot of templates are available with respect to scanning part. So we can audit or scan with respect to a particular vulnerability that has been recently occurred. Let's take example of the drone detection, or with respect to the Spectre and Meltdown, or even the WannaCry ransomware. And with respect to the basic network scan, we have internal PCI network scan, we have application scan. So based on the kind of feature or the functionality that we wanted to actually perform, so accordingly we can pick one and we can actually start with the process of this. I think if at all not these tools are covered, there is again in the coming days we have some more sessions on the vulnerability part also, where this tool will be covered more. Today we'll be discussing about Linus as well as the Syscat tool for checking the hardening part. And the other one is called OpenVAS. This is also one of the vulnerability scanner where we use. This is an licensed under GNU. That means we can use it freely. It's an open source tool, and it is developed and maintained by Greenbaum Network. And other part is like we have Bellark and Bellmanage. These are also a tool which is used to analyze the system inventory as well as to understand the missing patches or the kind of available softwares, which also in turn helpful to find out what is the status of the system. Now, let's say if I talk about Windows operating system, this particular tool Bellark is for Windows operating system. So whenever we run this tool, we'll get a complete profile of the machine on which we are running this particular tool. So we'll get what are the kind of resources that are shared onto the public or to the private network, what are the kind of software that is installed, what is the operating system version, and what are the missing patches, security updates. So everything will be actually displayed using this tool. So based on that, we can take a decision, and we can also get the information, what is the status of the machine, whether the machine is up to date or all the required information is available on the system to be secure, or is there anything extra that need to be added. And one important thing is that this particular Bellark is only for personal use, whereas because this has to be taken care while doing in terms of organization. For the commercial part, we have the other thing called Bellmanage. The other important part is one tool called Syscat. This we'll be seeing in terms of demo also. This is one particular tool which is related to the configuration assessment as well as the hardening part. So whenever we got an operating system, whether it is Windows or Linux or any kind of network operating system, so using this particular tool, there are already a certain standard which is already there, and a checklist as well as controls. So what kind of thing that need to be taken care to ensure that the particular operating system is secure. So that kind of all the controls as well as the checklist is already defined by this CIS. We'll see what exactly the CIS and the standard is meant for. So generally, this we called as CIS benchmarks, where it is available to almost all the operating systems as well as the network kind of systems also. And it is available in both graphical as well as command line. And we have the reports in terms of HTML or CSV as well as JSON. So whatever the format that is required that need to be exported, that can be taken care. And again, we have two versions into this. Syscat Pro is the professional or the commercial version, whereas Syscat Lite is the free version that can be downloaded for free and which can be used on any operating system. So whenever we talk about the hardening or the auditing part, so we have certain standard guidelines that need to be checked. So as we said, CIS is one such, which is Center for Internet Security, which is a non-profit organization where we have certain benchmarks and controls with respect to securing the information system. And the other standard we have is with respect to the defense part, the Defense Information System Agency of US. They have developed a thing called Security Technical Implementation Guide stream, where a certain other guidelines are also being placed into these standards. And the other, we already know the National Institute of Standards and Technology, where we also have certain guidelines and checklist to ensure that the system is secure. And if we talk about specifically with respect to any kind of a specific domain, let's say in this case, we talk about the payment card industry. So then we have PCI DSS standard, which is Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard. So there are different kinds of standards which are available, against which we will check whether the current existing operating system or the system which is in place is meeting the standard guidelines, and we can assure, or we can check that the status of those system which is already in place. Now, if we talk about the CIS, the main thing of this particular thing is to identify, develop, validate, and promote where the best practices and solutions for cyber defense. So for this, we have a lot of controls that are already defined. We have 20 CIS critical control we have, and the other thing is called benchmarks, where there are certain kind of things that need to be validated on the operating systems or on the information security system to check whether that particular operating system is meeting the security parameters in right place or not. The other thing, as we have discussed, it is called STIG, which is Security Technical Implementation Guide. It is to mainly standardize the security protocols with respect to the networks, servers, and the computers. And again, there are certain sections where we can also check for the logical designs, where we can enhance the overall security posture of the organization. And we can also use this particular compliance or the standard with respect to software, hardware, physical, as well as logical architectures in an organization. The other thing is NIST, which is National Institute of Standards and Technology, which also offers guidelines on technology. And there is one important part for NIST is called Cyber Security Framework, where a lot of which uses a 5-step process to ensure that the security standard is up to date. The first thing is to identify the systems and data that should be protected, because as an organization, we also should keep in mind that, so we are not only the NIST standard or the framework, it is the organization in terms of organization security also, we need to check these kind of things in place. Because the first thing is we should understand what are the systems that are available and what is the data that should be protected. So once we get this information, then we need to check for the protection, that is implement the security measures to protect this data which has been identified as critical to the organization. Then the third one is detect, where along with implementing the security measures, we need to actually have the appropriate policies and tools to detect in any deviation or any kind of incidents that took place in an organization, or whenever we are protecting this information. And the other thing, after detection, we also need to respond to that. So for this, we also need to have a cyber security response plan, and that can be used to address the cyber security incidents which are detected whenever we are trying to protect these systems. And if there is any kind of damage or any kind of issue with respect to the system that we are handling, and that happens with respect to any cyber incident, then we need to recover that data as quickly as possible, because again, we should not take a longer time, or there should not be any delay to keep us right on the track. So again, there should be a minimal kind of time, that means that is where the backups or the kind of other mechanisms to continue the business will actually come into place. So that kind of recovery data mechanism has to be established, and the operation should be normal within no time. So for this NIST framework and the guidelines will be used, and it's mostly these set of standards are uniform and which can be applied to any specific organization in all the domains. And the other thing, if you talk about a specific kind of application, again, there are a lot of things. If you talk about the web, we have OWASP. So there are a lot of kind of things again, but with respect to that PCI standard, where with respect to payment card industry, we again need to ensure that all the data with respect to the user, the information of the user has to be maintained in a secure environment. Again, there are 12 requirements for PCI DSS compliance also. which also be used as part of hardening the systems. The first one is used in maintaining the firewalls. We need to assure that there is a proper password protection of all the systems where the user information is stored. And also we need to protect the card holder data, and whatever the information that is flowing on through the wire or through the network, that should be encrypted, because even in the transmission or when the information is in transit, we should assure that there is no data leakage. And we should use and maintain the up-to-date antiviruses and the proper updating of the software along with the OS, or what kind of application software we generally use for protecting that, that should be properly updated. And there should be a restriction of the data access. It is not that all the data has been allowed, so there should be some authorization on the data also. So what kind of access has been provided to the data. And for every access, we need to have a separate unique IDs or the authentication mechanisms. And with respect to physical access, the restrictions has to be in place. And in case of any incident happens, so there should be a mechanism to actually check for the logs. So there should be a mechanism for creation as well as maintenance of the access logs. And there should be regular kind of vulnerability assessment or the penetration testing or the kind of auditing should be happen. And along with this, all the policies or the standard operating procedures has to be maintained. And specifically when we talk about this hardening, so generally hardening is nothing, it's a process of securely configuring the system. Now let's say it is not that whatever the operating system we have that is not configured. Even though it is configured, we need to ensure or we need to assure that whatever the configuration that is existing on the system, it has to be in a such manner that we have to, it has to be in a secured manner. That means there should be no kind of misconfigurations or which can actually allow or somebody to access the system. So that is where we need to take this hardening part. Mostly we'll be using this hardening for correcting the misconfiguration. Misconfiguration in the sense, let's say one example we can take. So whenever we take any kind of system, let's say it is operating system or the device, there are some default passwords. So if we start using the system as it is without changing any configuration, so there may be chances that we also use this default configurations also. So these kind of configurations has to be corrected. And the most important part again, there may be a lot of services or there may be a lot of ports that are opened on a system. Port is nothing but a service. Okay, so we have to disable this unnecessary and vulnerable services. Unnecessary means again, so what the organization need. Now let's say there is a web server or a kind of operating system where there is a requirement of only web service. That means a port 80 or 443 has to be allowed. But if there are, let's say there are a lot of services or a lot of ports that are opened on the operating system, which main purpose is to have to serve the web request, then we need to disable these kind of unnecessary services which are not required on the system. And by correcting all this, we have to make sure that the system become more reliable with respect to the kind of functionality or the operations for which it is intended to. And again, by patching or by checking all these kind of vulnerabilities, we can protect the system from the exploits and attacks, where we can also have implement this kind of patches regularly. And also we need to check the kind of changes that need to be done with respect to the existing configurations. And we have to, and the system has to withstand against the exploits or the attacks. So these are some of, let's see some of the activities that can be used to hardening the computer system. So the first thing is we have to apply the security patches and hotfixes, and we have to continuously monitor the security bulletins that are applicable. So generally, if we talk about Windows operating system, as we have seen in the earlier session also, the operating system itself, there is an option that it has to check for the patches continuously, and whenever a new patch is there, the system automatically downloads it and installs it. So these kind of things, and with respect to the new releases of the patches, are also need to be taken care. And the other most important thing is to install and configure the firewall. We have also seen certain sections where the firewall can be configured, and closing the unnecessary ports which are not required for the operation, and restricting the file sharing among the programs. Now, let's say there are some default shares are also available on the operating systems, which also need to be restricted, and the regular updation as well as use of this antivirus or the anti-malware solution has to be taken care. And the other most important thing is keeping a backup. So whenever there is an issue with respect to the system, we should be able to in a position to put the operations back. So for this, we need the complete regular backup of the system also, even in case of any incident that can be used, and creating strong passwords, and with respect to emails also, not opening the emails or attachments from unknown users, and removing unnecessary programs and user accounts from the computers even. So where while hardening also, we have seen a lot of system contain 2 or 3 multiple users with all administrator accounts. So even one particular system or one particular user account is administered, and even though it uses strong password, the other user with a weak password, even though it is administrator account, then that can also be used to do any sort of damage to a system. So that also need to be taken care of, how many user accounts are available and what is the purpose and what kind of methodology that can be used. And also we need to have this encryption wherever it is possible. So we need, again, for this also there are default standards available in most of the operating system, like BitLocker or some kind of things which are available on the operating system. So we need to use that encryption things available on the operating systems, or some third party also can be used. So whenever we talk about the operating system related part or the hardening part, so we need to understand, we need to perform a clean installation and install OS updates and patches, remove unnecessary services, and restrict access to the OS critical binaries or the system configuration files. That means whatever, let's say if we talk about Windows, we all know that all the system binaries are stored in system32 folder in the C drive. So we need to assure that only the specific intended purpose or the user accounts can only be used or access this particular kind of thing. And the other important part is the least privilege. So whatever the user accounts we generally use, that has to be with least privileges. Whenever there is a need for kind of escalation, only then we have to use the administrative privileges. And use of guest accounts and auditing critical files is also one important part of the hardening system. And whenever we talk about right from the scratch, we need to set a BIOS or the firmware password. This is the first step whenever we talk about the hardening of the system itself. So before going or booting into the operating system, we need to also secure the system right from the BIOS or by keeping the firmware passwords. And we need to check the kind of things. And also one more important, we need to also have the screensavers whenever we are logging off the missions. And I'm not going much into these details because antivirus and malwares, what is the configuration we have already seen in the earlier session, but we need to ensure that there should be an antivirus or the anti-malware software which are to be used. And most of the antivirus softwares nowadays, we have this real-time protection where it will also continuously keep on monitoring the network and the websites on which we are browsing, whether there are any phishing websites or any kind of issues with respect to the websites. And also there is by default the host intrusion detection are also there in most of the antivirus softwares. So we need to enable these kind of security features which are available in the system. So if we talk about one hardening part, let's say this is with respect to Windows password policy, the CS benchmark says that the password history or the kind of logins we need to maintain is at least 24 or more. And the minimum password is one actually. That means for every 1 day, we need to regularly keep on changing the password. And there is a minimum, and the maximum password age is about 60 days. That means for every 2 months, we need to regularly change the password. So we cannot use the password as it is for a longer period of time. And with respect to the minimum password length, at least you should have minimum 14 characters or more characters also. And also the complexity requirements, like the use of combinations of all special characters, everything has to be enabled. And these are some of the parameters which are there, even for the account lockout policy, how much time we need to maintain. So these are some of the hardening steps which are actually used with respect to the operating system. Even for network devices, similarly, we have a lot of kind of thing where we must use encryption passwords and disable all the clear text protocols. So there are a lot of hardening steps also. And I'm not, whatever the documents we are discussing here, we have the same can be uploaded to e-learning portal, where detailed kind of things can also be available in the e-learning portal with respect to how we can harden these systems. Because I just want to show the demos of the tool, so I'm just skipping all these things, because anyway the password manager and everything will be discussed in the coming slides. Okay, so this is with respect to the email practices, whatever we are talking about. Now let's say one particular hardening document, I'll show how that can be done manually. As I said, this is one particular benchmark which I have seen, CIS benchmark. I'll just try to open the website also. So this is the website on which we have the CIS security.org, where we have a lot of sections with respect to cybersecurity best practices. We have CIS controls, we have benchmarks with respect, as you can see, these benchmark examples are with respect to Ubuntu, Windows, and iOS. So we have with respect to all the things, even we can check the platform. Here we can observe almost all the operating systems and applications are covered here. Okay, name one operating system or any kind of thing, we have the benchmarks available for this, right? Even we have Google Chrome, Google Android, we have Docker, we have CentOS Linux. So every operating system is included with this framework. And also we have CIS controls also with respect to that. The other section we have is with respect to cybersecurity tools, where we can see with respect to the classification we have, whether it is generalized for the organization security or any kind of specific platform. So we can see CS controls is the generalized thing, but whereas the benchmarks are to specific platforms. Now let's say there is a Windows operating system or a Linux operating system. Even in Windows, what kind of operating system we wanted? It is Windows 8 or Windows 10. So specifically for that, we have a certain benchmark. And track specific threats. Even there are advisories also which are continuously posted onto this website. And in with respect to that, the community, we have these controls as well as benchmarks are also available, freely downloadable as part of community versions. And this tool we are going to discuss now, the CIS Cat Lite, which is in community version. But if you want to have the CIS Cat, this particular tool is optimized version of the benchmarks which are talking about. Now let's say if we talk about the benchmarks, now you can see this is one example which we have downloaded on the same website. This is with respect to hardening Windows 10 Enterprise. Now you can see this particular document is about 924 pages. Okay, let me show you a quick brief of what generally available. And the one important thing we need to understand is we have certain profiles for every kind of step that you need to take. Now, if we talk about the level 1, then this profile is intended to be practical and prudent, and it will also give the clear security benefit and what kind of technology can be used, that is there. Because whenever you go for a kind of thing, the levels are maintained. So we need to take the control or the kind of implementation of the standard with respect to that. Okay. So if we talk about, you can see there are lots and lot of things that are available now with respect to things. So these are the recommendations that are available with respect to. Yeah, I'll just share you the site link on the chat window. Okay, for actually going through this website and downloading. Now let's say if we talk about the recommendations, as I can see, let's say 1.1 is with respect to the password policy. 1.2 is with respect to the account lockout policy. We have local policies. Again, we have audit policy, user right assessment. Even we have network service level things. So there are lots and lot of for each and every component of the security aspect which we talk about the operating system. This document can be used to actually check that control, whether it is in enable mode or disable mode, and accordingly we can issue the command or change the configuration so that it will be secure. Now let's say, let me take example of one thing. So this is how the control or the section will be, the recommendation will be. Now let's say this is with respect to ensure accounts administrator account status is set to disabled. Okay, why? And you can also see the profile applicability to which level this is applied. and we can see the description of the why this recommendation has to be implemented, because whatever the administrator account we generally use, it should not be used during the normal operation. Whenever there is escalate privilege or there is a specific need of the administrator account, then only it has to be enabled, or else a normal account can be used. So that kind of things, the description is available, and also what is the justification for that is also provided in the rationale. And what is the audit part? So we have to go to this particular path. Generally, most of the things, this will be with respect to the registry keys available in Windows, if we talk about the Windows operating system. So for this particular registry path, we have to change that to disable. So by default, it will be enabled, that has to be disabled. So what will be the impact and what will be the default value? So accordingly, we can also see the references of this. So all these things for each and every recommendation, we have this. So it is around 920 pages document. So once we do all this, we can assure that the operating system is completely hardened. But again, it depends on the organization on which we are doing the hardening part, because again, there are certain organization requirements where according to the policy, there may, let's say in this document, there may be some section that the network services are to be disabled. But there may be a scenario in the organization that certain network services like Samba for file sharing has to be enabled for a smooth operation of the organization. So again, this standard has all the controls or the recommendations has to be taken as per the organizational requirements. So accordingly, we need to harden the operating system or harden the system. So as I said, this is only one example. That is also a manual part where we need to go for each and every registry, and we need to disable or enable based on the recommendations. Now the next part, we'll see the same Syscat tool and one Linus tool which is available in Linux, by which we can actually automate this process, and we can also check whether what kind of controls or whether what kind of output we are getting, whether the system is we are able to harden it with respect to the tools, or what kind of recommendations the tool will actually give. So this is about the hardening part, because along with the default kind of scenarios which you have seen in the earlier session, where we need to enable the firewalls, the antivirus has to be installed, and certain sections, along with this, there's a more and more granular level of the hardening, where each and every component of the security or the policies or the recommendations has to be implemented with respect to the operating system. And as I said, this is not only restricted to Windows. We have the benchmarks available for all the kind of operating system, and all, even for applications also we have this benchmarks. And next thing, we'll be discussing about the tool. I'll just show you the demonstration of the tool, how this tool will be used for the processing of the same benchmarks.
It is a battle-tested security tool for system running Linux, Mac OS, or Unix-based operating system. It performs an extensive healthy scan of your system to support system hardening and compiles testing. For this, Linus can be started from each directory. So we will choose a directory where you want to store the Linus. Here we will be creating a directory with the command. First we will go in root Here we will creating a directory with mkdir command, and we will give a path where we want to make this directory. On doing this, um, a directory will be created. Later we will go into this path by cd command, that is change directory. Here, next step is downloading the latest version of Linux into this directory. Here we will be using wget to download the Linux file.
So Linus is one tool. Linus is one tool where we can audit or we can use the hardening of Linux operating system. So in this example, we are trying to see about the kind of output on the Ubuntu operating system. First, we'll just see where it can be downloaded. So this is the path where we can download the file. And after that, we'll try to run the tool and we'll see what is the output that is being given by the tool with respect to the Ubuntu operating system.
So with this command, our Linux will be downloaded. Here, by doing ls, we can see the star file has been downloaded. Now the next step is to untar this star file. So we will be using this command. Here, as I have already untarred it, you can see it is already present in my system. But to untar, we can use this command and the file name. So moving forward, we will go into this directory. Here we can see many files are present. To know more about Linus, which commands we can use with it, we will run this. Here we can see that with Linus command, we have audit option, show option, update option, and many more. Here we will be doing an audit system as Linus can run without any pre-configuration. This procedure will take for a minute or two for completion. We can see that the category names, test titles, and result is scrolling in the terminal window of each category of the test is completed. Here, as we can see, the first section of the audit detects the version of Linux, kernel, release, and other system details. Here we can see the program version is 3.0.1 and it has detected the operating system as Linux, operating system name Ubuntu, and Ubuntu system version that is 18.04. Moving further, looked are highlighted in amber that are as suggestions and in red are the warnings that should be addressed. Linus analyzed file permission and flagged something to do with this checking for password protection. It has found none. According to each category, it has given us the result in amber or in red or as suggestion. We can also by the end of this, we will find a result where it will give us a hardening index, which will be the exam scores.
So as we are saying, it is taking time, but actually this is how you can see there are a lot of sections which are actually there. It is checking for the software details, it is checking for the network services. So this is like a complete audit of the system on which it is performed. Now currently I'm running on my local system. Now I can see what is the operating system I'm using, what is the kernel version, what kind of services that are enabled. And in this section on the window, we can see there are no databases which are currently available. LDAP services are not available. But in the earlier previous screen, we have seen that even here also banners identification, it is saying that it is weak. And even there is no time synchronization available on this particular system. Because let's say the last time synchronization is not found. Why actually time synchronization is also important? Because in terms of any incident happens or any kind of thing, so this time is also very much important, that is to be uniform across all the systems. So by understanding this, each and every section, it is trying to go to the granular level in the operating system and giving me some output. If it is said it is in the green color, then it is okay. Whatever the issue that has been found, it is fine with respect to the parameters. And if it is in red color, then that need to be taken care with respect to that. So if the last time synchronization is not there, then we can need to implement the NTP and we have to check. So based on the output, we can actually get a lot of information of the particular system and each of the parameters that are available. So with respect to this, we can take some particular action on the system to be hardened, so that whatever the systems that are available, that is there. Now you can see still it's taking a lot of things. Even it is checking for the malware protection, home directories, and even for the home directories, it's giving a permissions of home directories as warning. That means there must be some sort of things where there must be some parameters which are given for all access, and these are all the recommendations which we can see. Okay. And in the last mode, we can see this is what the kind of output which we got, where it has checked for all the kind of parameters. And in the particular file, there is a particular files which are stored as linux.org or linuxreport.dat. Okay, just we'll try to open that file and we'll see the summary of that particular file. Okay, so this is what we can see. This is what that has been found on the system, all the binaries which are used, and what is the kind of things, everything will be logged into that. Okay, so this is with respect to the Linus. The other tool which we see is about Syscat Lite. In the current version, we are using Syscat Lite because this is the free version, whereas Syscat Pro is one of the commercial version. For this demo, we'll be demonstrating the Lite or the free version.
Moving forward, we will be seeing the demo of Syscat Lite tool. Syscat is a Java-based tool that scans against a target system's configuration setting and reports the system's compliance to the corresponding CIS benchmark. For this, we need the prerequisite to ensure that the Java runtime environment is available. And after running the tool, we will get a report generated. We can analyze this report. This configuration assessment results in HTML report. In this report, we can see separate 4 sections such as summaries, profiles, assessment result, and assessment details. The summary is nothing but the section provides an overall view of each section within the benchmark that contributes the overall score. Recommendations are organized into categories and subcategories. Each recommendation, when included in the Syscat automated assessment process, may consist of one or more checks, also referred to as tests. In order for a recommendation to reach an overall pass result, all checks and tests must be result in pass. Recommendations requiring user input, often referred to as manual or information, will appear in this section. The summary is separated into columns. An explanation we can find as if it has given us a pass, then the count of check or test meeting the criteria specifies the recommendation. If it has given the test result as fail, count of checks or tests not meeting the criteria specified by the recommendation. In case of error, count of checks that results in an error. Unknown gives us the count of checks where Syscat was unable to determine if the criteria of the test was met. Score gives us the count of recommendation with the result of pass in the given section. Max gives the total count of recommendation that should result in pass or fail. Percentage of recommendation pass is score divided by max into 100. In assessment results, all the rules with at least one automated check or test will be included. Some We can see that here pass, fail or unknown results and manual is also given. We can click into this and we can find the details of it. It shows the description which provides additional information regarding the recommendation. Rationale articulates the reason the recommendation is made, may include the threat model addressed by the recommendation. Remediation steps are used to correct a target system resulting in a score of fail. Impact states unexpected adverse consequences that may occur by implementing the recommendation. Assessment shows the scan target system state information that was collected and the benchmark expected conditions for a passing score.
So for this, actually, the example shows here, we can observe that, let's say this is one particular parameter out of all the kind of things report which you have seen. Now UFW, this is the graphical or the kind of version of with respect to IP tables, where let's say this is also the inbuilt firewall in terms of Linux, how the Windows desktop firewall is located in the Windows operating system. Linux also has this, Ubuntu specifically has this UFW. So you can see this particular parameter is passed. That means whatever the recommendation with respect to the benchmark that this particular UFW has to be there, it is enabled. So the first description, not only this, so each and every parameter will have the same format. So the one format is, it will give the description of why the service is needed. As we can see, it is a front end of IP tables and there is a certain description of that. Then why this particular service has to be enabled, there's a justification for remediation. If let's say if in this case, if the check mark or the benchmark is failed, we get, then what kind of remediation has to be taken place. So here UFW enable will actually enable this particular service. But as you can see in the impact, we have already got this particular UFW is already exists. That means this particular service is already enabled and running on the system. That is where we got a pass, right? So similarly, any fail? Similarly, we'll see one particular section for fail. Let's say in this here, similarly how we have seen pass, so it is fail. That means whatever the that ensuring no execution option on this particular thing is not available in this particular system. So that is where the assessment is also given with respect to the screenshot, so that these particular mount options are not with respect to no execution mode. So now in order to ensure that this particular criteria has to be met, then we have to follow the remediation where we need to issue the command mount-o remount no execution on this particular option, okay, or the shared memory. So this is how for each parameter the actually the tool, instead of as we have seen in the earlier PDF where there is a lot of documentation of 1,000 pages, so that has been automized now using this particular tool. So whatever the parameters that are there, that will be now automized. Okay, so if there is any specific need for the manual, then we can directly take the inputs from that document, and according to as per the organizational policy or the organizational requirements, we can customize that, or we can use the tool, and we can also use this tool output so that we can change or we can configure the operating system accordingly for hardening the system. So this is how these tools will actually help in regular auditing as well as hardening the operating system. So this is for the demonstration of these particular topics. So if there are still any doubts, then we can take it on, or we can also discuss in the WhatsApp group, or you can post us to it any point of time. We'll revert back. And there is one query whether all the material made available in the e-learning platform. Yes, sir, all the material, whatever we are discussing here, and with respect to some of the installation steps, I think most of the installation steps we have skipped here, but those detailed documentation with installation is also available on the e-learning platform, where a step-by-step process is also given, how to download that file, how to install, how to configure those files. Everything is available on the e-learning platform. because of time constraint, we cannot actually, we are not going on to the step-by-step installation part. So that is where we have put all those required documentation in the e-learning platform. So this is how these tools are used for hardening of the operating systems. So any doubts, sir, in this session? Thank you, sir. If there are no doubts, then I'm giving control to sir. Windows also, we have the same kind of tool, sir. As we discussed, we have Bellark one tool where this will give the inventory or the kind of information available on the system. Even the same Syscat Lite is can also be used for Windows also. Earlier, there was a particular Windows native tool called MBSA, Microsoft Baseline Security Analyzer, but now recently they have discontinued the tool. So that tool will was also giving the same kind of things. What are the patches or what is the system level? But recently they have discontinued the tool also. But the same tools which I have discussed in this demo, Linux is specifically only for Linux. But whereas the Syscat tool can also be used for both Windows as well as Linux operating system. Sir, actually, if we have, let's say, this particular case is it desired that all the PCs are to be enabled. If you think, let's say, instead of that, you can take a sample of them. Now, let's say there are 20 systems in the particular section. Then in the 20 systems, all the operating systems are belongs to Windows. So there is no need for installing and configuring all the systems. Maybe if there is a specific requirement and case to case, then you can there should be installation on all the PCs. Or else, if there is a generic configuration, then on one system the tools can be installed and checked for the hardening part, but the output or recommendations can be implemented on all the remaining systems, so that all the systems will be covered if there are of the same type. Now let's say there are 5 Windows 7 systems, 5 Windows 10 systems, then you can pick a sample of Windows 10 system and implement the recommendation on all the remaining 4. Similarly, from Windows 7, pick one and implement the recommendations on all the things, so that each and every operating system or every variant of the operating systems that are available, that will be as part of hardening, because that is where the basic system security will come, because we need to understand the system and whether this particular information that is available or the kind of, let's say, the services that are running, whether all the services are really required to be up, or is there any kind of thing that we need to close or disable the unnecessary reserve. So all these kind of things can be taken care of that. Okay, sir. Thank you. Naresh, over to you.